everybody, and welcome back to the Blind Press YouTube channel. And it's Saturday, so that means it is the time for Star Trek. And I am joined, as usual, by Irate Prostate, Skeptalk, and Hammer. How are you three doing today?
Hello.
Hey.
And we are doing Irate Prostate's favorite TNG episodes. And, of course, they are Darmok, Times, Arrow, and Schisms. And
Okay,
I love all of them.
Now, note that the list also included the Defector, Chain of Command, episodes 1 and 2, Q-Who, and Face of the Enemy.
Oh, that was a hard list to narrow down.
Dude, I found it. It was like, holy shit. You know, part of me was like, well, I want to watch all this shit now. Yeah, there's so much good stuff in TNG, especially when they got in their stride.
Yeah, like
fifth and sixth seasons.
It was such an expansion to the technical part of the canon.
Yes.
I mean, you really, they really built out the world. That's what I love about TNG, just as a general statement.
And by the time we hit to season 5, which is where Darmok is, it's what is it, second episode?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you get to the, season 5 where they've all hit their stride.
Right.
And you get an episode like Darmok, which is just freaking awesome. I think because it's so simple. Because it's basically Picard and the captain of the other ship or the bridge of the Enterprise. Right? There are very little, there are a couple of scenes where you have Data and Troy trying to figure out the language of these people. But it's mostly those two settings. And I think that plays strongly to it because this episode is basically about first contact in essence between the Federation and I think they're called the Children of Tama.
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 Yeah, Tama.
His arms wide. The children of Tama.
Yeah.
Also a good drum maker. Drums.
But that's not important right now.
Yeah. So it's all good. So this episode is basically Picard and the captain of the ship of one of the ships of the Children of Tama, basically making first contact.
Captain Dathon or Dathon.
Yes. And it's basically it's a whole episode about learning how to communicate. Which I loved how these guys spoke because they spoke in metaphor basically.
Well, they used chunks of metaphor.
Yeah,
they would use some alien words and then part of a metaphor.
Yeah,
I have to step away for just a quick moment.
No worries.
With sails unfurled. Be right back.
With sails unfurled. We welcome you with arms wide open.
Arms wide open.
Yeah. That was both a strength and a weakness of this episode that I thought. I thought that I gave them like a B+ for the way they carried it off. I could not give them quite an A because I needed to understand better how the alien words were tied in to the metaphors. And they left part of that a little bit mysterious, in my opinion.
I think it was probably their universal translator. That's my theory.
What do you mean?
That it was coming through their
Oh, that's the way it was coming through as translated. Them.
Right. No, their translator was sending it out, and the human translator was picking it up. Right.
Yeah.
So there was two kinds of translators going on.
Of that. So the translator is rendering this thing back with chunks of alien words that it can't translate. Then the part that it can translate comes back as a chunk of metaphor because they weren't entire metaphors.
No,
they were like portions of metaphorical phrases, like arms wide open. And they were almost. That's not really. It's not really
that's
a
combination.
metaphor.
That's a combination of two metaphors.
Yeah. Well, arms wide open. That's not a metaphor in and of itself. Yeah.
Right, but from their language, they had Tempa, his arms wide, was one, and then Uzani's army with fist open. That was the other one. So you combined the two and said with arms wide open. So it's they're two separate ones.
So I don't know. Anyway, gave him a B+ on that, and I liked virtually everything else about it. I dug the captain. I liked the action. I liked the plot line. It was much less busy. It was not a busy plot at all. This was a very subtle episode. I loved that. It was just a pleasure to watch.
Yeah.
So I really like this. It's a great choice in my opinion.
Yeah.
So somebody else talk about it.
I thought Riker was portrayed really well.
So did I.
Yeah. Who was the actor who was portraying him? Because that's not the regular guy. Because the regular guy can't act that well.
I think it was the writing.
Just teasing.
Obviously, the writing was
just fine.
paramount on this fucking episode.
Yes, I agree with you, Irate.
I like when he gets when he even with the poker reference and he gets mad at himself that he fucked up. We tipped our hand. Damn. Like he's when they go to try and transport when they figure out how to get through because the other ship has set up this dampening field type of deal.
Yes. That
basically has made it so they can't transport their captain either.
That was I didn't think that was good writing. That was just every part of that was believable. Even when they launched the shuttlecraft and the other guys shot one nacelle just to disable it. Right. I thought there were just a lot of good ideas in this plot.
Well, and you can tell like the rest of the crew, they don't trust this. They don't trust these people at all, and they're like, I think they're warlike, and you can tell that that's what's going on in their minds.
Oh, right? They're ready to attack, man.
Yeah, they're more ready to defend.
That's what I mean. Right? They're ready to go all war on them.
And so is Riker.
Riker is leading the pack. Actually,
he's amping the shit up. And so the phrase that's repeated over and over again is Darmok and Jalad at Tanagra.
Yeah.
Right. And what it references is a mythological tale where these two enemies came together to join forces to defeat this great creature. Yeah. And it's kind of borrows from Gilgamesh epic.
Who else wants a T-shirt with that on it?
Darmok and Jalad at Tanagra.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, I think they're out there.
I want Shaka when the walls fell.
When the walls fell.
Yeah, I want
epic
one of those
fail.
too.
And on the back, it should have the initial contact between the two of them, where he says, "Rai at Jiri at Lunga, Rai at Luani under two moons, Jiri of Ambaya at crossroads at Lunga, Lunga her sky gray." That should be in the back. Mm-hmm. People will totally what the hell are you talking about, dude?
Right. Well, and when that episode opens with that, man, it just throws you into it fucks with you. Mm-hmm. Right?
Yes,
so you're kind of put into cruise position. You're going, what the fuck are they saying?
Great point.
I remember seeing this, when it came out, watching it live and just being just engrossed. I couldn't get up to go to the bathroom or anything. I watched that whole thing through the commercials because I didn't want to miss anything, right? Because I knew.
Here's a great question: have any of you used any of these quotes in your real life?
Yep.
Yeah,
I have too.
Yeah,
I have too. My big one is with my girlfriend. I'll use Chenza Court, the court of silence. She rolls her eyes and walks away. I don't want to talk to you right now. I wrote them all down. I went through I watched the episode.
And you wrote all of them down?
I wrote all of them down.
I love that.
You guys won't remember. I guarantee it. We all know the ones that are said often.
Yeah.
There's a lot in here that they only say once. And they say it in passing. And if you don't catch it, you'll miss it.
You'll lose it. Yeah. That's great.
Especially there's a few that when Picard's trying to make fire, and the captain's just laughing at him, right?
Yeah, that's Kale match at Bahar.
Yeah.
Is the one they're using when they make fire. And then when they have the little thing where the guy's dying and he's reading him, he says, Kiryat Bashi, Kalash, or no, Tima Ed Enzo, Zima, and Bakor.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they're all really quick things. And the one with the Kiazi's, when he gets hurt, Kiazi's children, their faces wet.
Mm-hmm.
That's all in the same point of time. But if he only says it once, and he says it in such a passing way, like we would just be talking. Well, he's just talking, to Picard or the listeners. Every word he's saying means something, and we're in a position where we have to figure out what he means.
And Paul Winfield sells it so well.
Yeah, but to him, it's just his regular language. It's no big deal to him. So he just says it in passing, like it's of course,
Paul Winfield.
Of course, I would say that.
Yeah,
he was a brilliant actor.
He's not with us anymore, is he?
No, he's not.
I don't think so.
No,
He's
I think we lost him to HIV.
He's not on the stream anyway.
No, he's not on the stream.
Yeah.
I'll be right back after open the playroom door. Logan's locked himself in.
Uh-oh.
That sounds like a solution more than a problem.
It's too quiet. It's too quiet.
One cynical old grandfather right here.
I feel you, man.
Kids locked in the playroom? Yeah, they are, dear. Good.
I got mute for a second.
All right. So, at any rate, Hammer, what do you think about the interaction between the two captains on the surface of the planet?
Well, it really carries the entire show. The two of them and their interaction. The play on the ship with Riker is very B story.
Yes.
It's like that's happening too. But the important thing is what's happening with the.
That's why I wanted to get your impression, because that was the part that I really truly enjoyed, was the kind of relationship that was happening between the two captains.
The captains kind of built a relationship based on nothing.
On what they both made a judgment call that the other guy was not trying to kill him. That the other guy's intentions were positive.
Yeah, they didn't. It took a while for them to understand that neither one of them was after each other.
Right.
They both kind of had that. Even the other captain was a little pensive at the beginning too. You watch his eyes when he's offering the knife. He's like, "I'm giving you this, but don't kill me with it."
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. And so anyway, enjoyed that. And to me, that really eclipsed what was happening back on the ship. Back on the ship was just, like you said, B story. So.
And it was like it was the opposite of what was going on the planet, right? It's like where they were gearing up to get to, to come together. It seemed like the two ships were gearing up to go to war.
The two plot lines were juxtaposed against one another, with one heading toward hostilities and the other one heading toward conciliation and peace. Right. That's a good counterpoint. I hadn't really thought of it until you said that. That's a good point to make.
Did anyone else like the storytelling?
Yeah.
When he was wounded and he wanted Picard to tell him a story.
Yes.
And Patrick Stewart's like, or Picard's like, I don't know.
I'm not much of a storyteller.
Yeah. And he goes, but you don't care. Again, that was awesome. I liked that little line.
Gilgamesh and Enkidu at Uruk.
Yeah, and he goes to Gilgamesh. Oh, really?
Yeah.
It's funny.
Kind of heavy duty.
It's funny. The quote is that Picard's not much of a storyteller, because in Q says, Jean-Luc, I wonder if I just come here to hear those wonderful stories of yours.
Yeah.
Yes.
Kind of a juxtaposition.
Of course, that's Q saying that. So
No, you stop that.
And I really wrestled with, with these episodes, right?
With choosing one, with picking one,
to represent, like, to give y'all a picture of me, right? I mean, that's kind of what I'm doing here, is trying to, give you insight into me, into what makes me tick. What
Into the man.
what tickles my brain.
The legend. Yes.
Yeah, right. But yeah, it's just so yeah. I really I fell in love with this episode the moment I saw it. The whole challenge, and then it's like the viewer comes to the point where they figure it out. Oh shit, he wants him to kill this thing with him, right?
Yeah.
And this forms a bond, and it's like, oh, dude, I get it.
Let you and me kill this thing.
Right, and Picard hadn't gotten it yet. You're going
Right.
Dude,
pay attention.
And then and you love the sheer panic and when Picard almost gets beamed out.
Yes.
And he's
yeah.
like, no. Yeah, right.
By
He's
the way,
just
special note for the acting of the enemy first officer. You guys remember some of the acting that guy did?
Yes.
Oh yeah, the first officer for the children of
Yeah.
The point where they start fighting with each other.
Yeah.
His phasers start flying and all that kind of stuff. There's a lot of lines in there that are like, the enemy captain finds out that they're trying to beam Picard off, and he says, "What was the line he says? I have it written down. Kailash when it rises." In other words, this is getting interesting, kind of deal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then when they actually get into a fight and they start firing at each other, he says, "Zinda," his face black, his eyes red.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, even if you don't know their language, you just listen to it, you think, somebody's pissed.
He's pissed off, right?
Yeah.
And look at his face when he delivers it. He's hunched over. Jesus.
I know. Sorry.
He's hunched over the monitor, so his face is bigger in the monitor. Like he wants to crawl across the monitor and beat Riker's face right then and there. Great camera work.
All right. That Temerian first officer is an actor named Richard Allen, who I don't recognize him. I'll check his IMDb real quick. Usually guys like that, from my experience, I found they show up later in other shit. It's because they're good actors.
Oh, well, Star Trek constantly regurgitates its actors like that. They show up in
Absolutely.
5, 6, 7 episodes.
Yeah. And
They've been doing that for a long time. I mean, Dana Muldaur was in 3 or 4 episodes as 3 different 4 people. She even showed up as TNG as another person.
Yes.
Yeah.
I thought that was great when they had her that second season.
Oh, I hated Pulaski.
Yeah, no, but I thought that was a great joke, Yeah, he's also in the Ensigns of Command.
Is he?
Yeah, he plays Kentor.
Oh.
No.
Yeah, so, but nothing else. Sometimes guys like that end up in becoming big actors in movies and stuff, and I like to follow that kind of stuff. It's a cult of personality.
No. It's interesting to find out how all these, cross references, these little things, there's just a lot of interesting minutiae about TNG, more so really than I don't want to say any of the other series, but there just is a lot of it in TNG. A lot of interesting trivia stuff about the actors and appearances, reappearances, and multi character representations. I just love that stuff. I think it's very cool.
I don't think they ever had a better writing staff than was on TNG. I think all the writing staffs after that, even my favorite Voyager.
Wait. Who had a better writing staff than TNG?
No, the opposite. I said that I don't think anybody had a better writing staff than TNG. Even my favorite Voyager, the writing wasn't quite as good.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, I think some of their writers went on to do shit like 24. Worked on stuff like that.
24 was so bad.
The first couple of seasons was great, and then it got horrible. They started just okay. It was plug and play. pretty much from there. Second season.
Get off the
Another
shark.
show-
Here comes the jump sequence.
Another shout out for the first officer was in the scene where he's arguing with his captain about the whole idea. And then at the end, when Picard comes to the bridge and just starts speaking in their language, and he's like, "Oh wow, Captain was right." You know,
Yeah.
like he's dead, but he was right.
This is a good call.
This was a good idea.
Well, no, he died honorably.
Eyes uncovered.
Yeah.
He was willing to sacrifice his life for this, this union.
Yeah.
And they knew that. They knew that was kind of what the deal was. It was, it could have ended up in both captains dead, and then what the fuck would happen, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So that's a good pick, dude.
Thanks.
Yeah.
great
actually, really, truly, very, very, very solid pick. So should we go on to
Let's do
Time.
schisms.
do schisms
Wanna do
next?
Finish with Time's Arrow. Yeah.
A two-parter.
Yeah.
So schisms, I love how. Okay, so first of all, really quick to synopsize it, it's basically these aliens that live in subspace are running experiments on the Enterprise crew.
Yeah.
That's basically the synopsis of this episode.
And it's the
And
closest thing to a horror film that
Yeah.
you're going to get with this series.
Yeah, Schisms and Night Terrors are probably your
Yeah,
two
Night
closest
Terrors.
horror episodes. But the way that Schisms starts is fucking awesome.
Oh,
Because it's
the most horrifying thing. The most horrifying thing in all of TNG happens in this episode. You know what it is?
Data reading
Data's
poetry.
poetry. Data's poetry.
Felix Gaddis.
Absolutely
And
fraught.
Riker just dozing.
and you have anticipated my denouement. Thank you for the sentiment.
I will continue.
Let's see if I can find it. Hold on a second.
I'm sorry. I just love. I had to burst in. Continue with your synopsis. I'm sorry.
Felix Gaddis, your taxonomic nomenclature, an endothermic quadruped, carnivorous by nature. Your
Yes.
visual, olfactory, and auditory senses contribute
right.
to your hunting skills and natural defenses.
We already had to live for this one. Right?
Yeah, man. The
was a
skin is
robot
peeling
from-
off my body. Stop. Ah!
It's great. Couples.
That's just
Although you do not know its spot and cannot comprehend,
I love the
A true and valued friend.
So funny. Yes. You're not.
But that is
true
the
valued friend.
best freaking intro ever.
Yeah,
For
it was a soft setup. Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Well,
Well, it establishes his tiredness.
Yeah, but at first you're like, "Oh, is this a Data episode?"
false
What-
sense of
like,
jocularity. And
yeah,
shit.
is this
Yeah.
a soft, funny episode?
And then it flips over to Lovecraft, with
Yeah,
aliens
yeah.
dissecting people on tables.
With crab-
turning their
crab
blood to
things.
polymer,
Yeah, with
you know, like-
crab noises. I love the crab noises too. Yeah, exactly.
I love that shit.
Yep, I did too.
Yeah. It's Hammer, you're quiet.
Well, I was just thinking there's a little bit of controversy when it comes to who wrote Felix Gaddis.
Really?
Because I was looking at it, looking it up online, and somebody had asked the question of who had done this, and they got an answer. The poem was written by Clay Dale. I met him once online. I met him once, and that is what he told me. Clay Dale is their graphics artist for the show, and he was on the show all 7 years. But according to Brent Spiner, Ode to Spot was written by Brandon Braga.
Oh, really?
And Brandon Braga is a writer. So
A writer,
and,
yeah.
And who you gonna believe? Brent Spiner or some guy who says some guy said something,
Right.
I'd believe Spiner, actually.
Yeah,
That's me, but
marry
I'm sorry,
Jerry
that's
Ryan?
just where I would come down on it.
Yeah. Didn't Jerry Ryan marry him?
But Spiner can quote the entire thing from memory.
I'm sure you can, man.
I'm not supply.
Supposedly they were cracking up a lot when they were reading it. So
I'm sure,
over
man.
and over and over and over again. So now he has it memorized.
Yeah.
Pretty funny.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
I like Jerry Ryan. She'd be fun to be married to, I think.
Did you see her in Helix, Scap?
no.
Helix is, man, that first season of Helix is insane. It's really good. And then the second season is like, oh my God. And then there was no third season. So yeah, it's one of those one and dones, which is there's too many of those.
A lot of good acting in this episode too.
Yeah.
When they're in the holodeck and they're building the set that ends up not even being close to what they actually experience.
Yeah.
There's a point where Geordi stops and kind of looks at the table and puts his hands up and he says, "I've been in this room."
Yeah.
And it's really good the way it's presented, the tone of his voice and the way he presents it. For him having to deal with having a visor on, so you can't see the actor's eyes, you can see the pensiveness in his voice, how upset he is on his face without having to see his eyes. And I thought that was great acting by LeVar Burton.
Yeah.
I agree. They were all. It was very. You have a sense of memory coming back and the panic. Basically, it was very, very well done.
What would you do if somebody told you your arm had been like completely cut off and then reattached?
Yeah.
I would do more than go, what?
You're not going to believe this.
Holy shit, they're fucking with me.
If they're good enough to remove your arm and put it back on, why would they make a mistake and not put it on correctly?
Yes.
Well,
And
0.02 microns off.
also, you point out a really good thing. How would they not know that Riker was faking being asleep?
Yeah. There's some
That
plot holes
was
in
a
this
big
episode.
plot hole for me.
And
That
there
was
were no rectal probes either. That pissed me off.
yeah, I was looking forward to that myself. But
You're looking forward to it, really?
oh yeah, of course. I was in the Navy.
Touche.
Well done.
I love
Well
Scott,
done.
man. He'll take it there. That's good. Yeah, but this is really the crab people. I mean, sent me right back to Lovecraft. You know, the whisper in darkness.
Yes.
Right? With those crab beings.
Yes. The
flying
crab
crabs.
thing. The flying crab. Yeah.
That ticking and that clicking sound, man, was
That was excellent. I love that sound, by the way, too.
Yeah,
that was wonderful.
It's very textural and very creepy. Good stuff.
Yep.
Um,
And
I like I like the just the weird idea they had of the Tetrion wave. They were just like, well, you better hope that we get you back, because otherwise you're just gonna be stuck in subspace, Riker. You know, like just
with the crab dudes.
Yep.
Yeah.
hanging with the crabs.
Yeah.
You got a bad case of crabs, I'm afraid.
Yeah, and the whole premise is that they're there to map a star system, and Geordi redirects a lot of the warp power into the array. What was it called? It's not the Bassard collector.
Or the deflector.
The deflector array. That's it.
Yeah.
Thank you. And so that peak in the energy alerts these beings, right? And that's what draws them there. And people start, it's like Data's, like you've been only gone for a minute and a half, Geordi. No, I was gone about an hour and a half, dude. It's like, and he goes, "You were right."
Yeah.
It's like, holy fuck!
90 minutes and 17 seconds. Oh my God.
Wow. That was
that was. I love how Data was kind of messed up about that, because he was like, because Data's like, Geordi's like, "Hey, did you get that done?" And Data's like, "No.
You've only been gone for a minute."
Even I am not that fast." Like.
Yeah, that was funny. So, trying to think of what else I liked about this episode.
So what is Solanogen? Does anybody know what that is, or is that one of those Star Trek made up things?
It's a Star Trek made up thing, as far as I know.
Thank you.
Solanogen, yeah, as far
Yeah,
as I know.
Solanogen based life forms.
That is not a chemical compound I've ever heard of.
They're the great old ones.
I've heard of a lot of them, so I don't know.
So-
It could be something I just haven't heard of. But Solanogen, those aren't commonly used prefixes and suffixes in chemistry. So
Right.
That's another kind of a plot hole, though, is
It is.
Solanogen-based life forms, because if you're going to have a life form, it's going to be based on the most common elements available. So if the life is not based on carbon, it doesn't make much sense, because it's the most prevalent element in the cosmos. Why would you end up with a life form that's not based on it? Doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
But I think Neil deGrasse Tyson makes that point in a couple of his videos. He's like, we're all made of the same thing that stars are made out of, because that's all that's available out there.
Right, exactly.
So
it's like that song, "We Are Made of Stars."
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that song, by the way.
the only thing I found a real problem with this episode wasn't so much the whole let's build what on the holodeck what we're going to experience later on, and they don't match, not even close. Like, it was inclined, it was metal. These are all things that it wasn't when they actually go to the area where the aliens are, where the thing that they're laying on is not inclined, and it's not metal, and there's no swing arm. It's got a brace, but it doesn't have all the things that they built in that holodeck.
Right.
Actually didn't end up actually being in the area where
isn't that how? Right. I think that's pointing that out, is that everybody's recall is fragmented. Even like, when you see an accident and you ask 5 people that saw the accident what happened, you get 5 different stories.
Yeah.
Jack,
but I see what you're saying.
I wanted to mention just one thing about Solanogen.
Mm-hmm.
It's only ever mentioned in that one episode, and the only distinguishing characteristic is that it's only stable in subspace. That's
Why
the only
not make it a
statement.
silicone-based life form?
Yeah, like a starlet.
We know what silicon is. So they would have to build prosthetics that made them look like they were made out of silicon.
Well, silicon is very similar, actually, to carbon. It's in the same It's in the same column of the periodic table, and it's very close to it, and acts a bit like carbon. And it's a little bit less reactive.
Jack Kunsky in chat says, "What about the Andromeda strain? A nitrogen-based life form."
Yeah, nitrogen-based life form.
Plenty of nitrogen in the cosmos.
They'd be pretty relaxed.
Dude, we could do a whole show on the genius of Michael Crichton.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
and all the
you
shit he brought
absolutely
us.
could.
Dude,
Absolutely
I love
could.
it. Yeah.
Does anyone
I've
else
read everything he's written, I think. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Does anyone else find Andromeda just to be Hercules in space?
It's been so long since I've seen it. All I remember are the very basics of the story. I need to watch it again.
Yeah.
I never watched it.
It's basically a space virus comes down and drives everybody crazy, and the system is designed to nuke the place, but nuking it's just going to make the problem worse. So he has to run at the very end. He has to run to the system and tell it not to nuke.
Dude.
But he's infected at the same time. So.
Oh, you're talking about the Andromeda strain?
Yeah.
Not the Andromeda of the series. Okay, I'm confused. Yes, there was the original version of it that came out like in the 70s. That movie,
right?
And then there was a remake of it. They did the same thing with Coma. The remake of Coma was actually better than the first movie.
Yes, it was. I agree with you.
Dude,
I quite agree
awesome.
with you.
Yeah, but Genevieve Bujold.
Yeah, but then again, it had the redhead from 6 Feet Under.
Yeah, I am a big Genevieve Bujold fan.
Yeah.
Our original Catherine Janeway.
Dead Ringers.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, the original Janeway. She would have been horrible.
She
in
would have
that,
been
I think.
horrible,
Yeah.
man.
But
She was horrible from what I
She
saw.
would- yeah, me
Yeah,
too, man.
yeah,
I totally agree. Nice way of working that.
But
in
she
there.
would have
I
gotten
like
more horribler.
More horrible.
Well, I know the funny thing is you said that, and it's really not a word, but I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah.
She would have gotten more horrible. You're right. What's number 3?
So
Num-
number 3
Number
was
3
Time.
was my favorite of the 3.
that. Yeah, Time's Arrow.
Time Zero is a great episode. It's a great two-parter. It's basically about these beings that are going back in time and harvesting 19th century Earth for humans.
Yes.
Yeah, well, their souls, really.
Yeah, basically, there's
Yeah.
But this episode revived, or not revived, but carried forth the tradition from the original series of going back into time and dressing up in period costumes and reviving historical figures. And I eat that shit up with a spoon.
I do
really
too,
do.
man.
I
Yeah,
loved
the
it.
Mark Twain thing was just
The Mark
fucking-
Twain thing was brilliant.
and the
was
Jack
excellent.
London.
Yeah, Jack London.
Yeah, you'll remember my name, Jack London.
Yeah.
Go off to Alaska. Go seek your fortune. Okay.
Yeah.
And it would have been right because Jack London actually started out in the San Francisco Bay Area. He was actually over in Oakland, across the bay. But he, there's plausibility that I really like there. That was a nice tie-in.
Yeah, and it.
Another thing is Data playing poker makes me very happy.
I love it.
Yes. Anytime
I-
Data plays poker is awesome.
I wish they had showed the whole thing of him just taking their money, hand after hand.
Over
That's
and
the
over
only
and
thing I
over.
kind of regret about that was that they didn't show that poker game, the actual
Yeah,
fleecing of
because
the card
it's
chart.
the old pool sucker.
Yeah,
they
right.
lose a couple hands to you, and then they drain you dry.
Yeah. And
Cause and Effect was still the best poker game, though.
Mm.
Remember the whole thing with the
absolutely. That's
He gives Orph a card and says no help for the Klingon. That was a classic line,
no,
man.
but
no
the
help
show
for the
opens-
Klingon.
Makes
I
me laugh
loved it.
every time.
Yep.
They find Commander Data's head in a cave on Earth, and it's
Yeah.
like 500 years old, and they're going, okay.
Yeah.
And Data's like, oh wow, okay.
He says some interesting things about death that philosophically are very much in line with what I feel about
Yeah.
death.
Yeah, it was cool, wasn't it, man?
Yeah, life has a beginning, a middle part, and an end, and it's supposed to be that way. Death is so important to life, to civilization, to human beings, because you have to turn over the old people like me. We get old, and it's time for us to leave and let other people step up and do the stuff, and take the human race forward, and make it better. Although when I see people like Ilhan Omar, I just kind of go, really? But he said it comforted him, and I know exactly what he means. I've told people ask me, because it's a fixation, and it is for everybody who's in their 20s, 30s. Death is a distant rumor, but it's one that makes them vaguely uncomfortable. And well, I don't have to think about it right now. Yeah, but maybe I ought to be thinking something about it. Kind of nibbles at the corners of your brain. But what I love is, and I've been very fortunate in this, having a period of time where I kind of got to make friends with death, and I'm okay with the end of my life happening. I'm happy with the life I've lived. That's the big thing, is to be happy with the life that you've lived, and to
Exactly.
be philosophical about the failures that you had, and be celebrate the successes, and feel good about feel like you left it better than you found it, and leave it to the youngsters, and it's time to rest and put it down. And that's the way life should be. I think that's and Data conveyed that. I love the way that he put that.
I love what you said about friendship too.
Yeah.
In the turbo lift, when Troy and Riker are talking about how they would have missed, they're telling him, you're our friend.
Yes.
But you may not know what that's like. and he goes, he puts it like a program. He explains it like a computer program. But he says, even a program has certain inputs that it's basically used to taking.
Pathways
And
have adjusted to.
my pathways have adjusted to your input, and I would miss those inputs as well. And it's a very Android way of describing it, but it's also very
saying that he's fond of you.
Yeah.
Well, that was Riker's line about sensory inputs, and Data was on. I'm very fond of you too, Commander, and you, Counselor Troy.
Exactly.
Well, and seeing that head is like somewhere in time.
Yeah.
Like the penny and that, it was a watch, wasn't it? And that, y'all know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, it was because didn't Clemens take his watch off at the end?
That was a reference to somewhere in time, wasn't it?
I think so.
About it. Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. So they so Guinan, she hits up Picard and says, yeah, I know, I know what's going on.
Well, I love, basically, in the future, Guinan hits up Picard, right? And in the past, Data hits up Guinan,
right?
Right? Data's like, oh shit, Guinan's here, sweet, right? And it's a good juxtaposition. I like it. I think it worked.
Yep.
They never did really explain, even with this past episode, they never really explained what's going on between Guinan and Picard, because even in this episode, there isn't really that much interaction, except that he kind of saves her. But when she talks about him in the other episodes, she says he's more than friends, more than family, and I will let him go. I guess that's when he died.
I'm so glad you said that, because I thought I missed something. I thought there was an explanation or something that I just was missing in this episode.
Yeah, they never really. I expect them to be having sex at some point in this episode, but they never. Yeah. They never get that close.
You can hope, but some explanation, some clarification of why she says these really deep things about him, and there's no rationale for it. At least there's no evident rationale that I know of.
It must be something else that happens after
or before. Of course,
it doesn't. It doesn't happen in this episode, so it has to be something between this episode and the Best of Both Worlds where they develop something.
Yeah,
we never really find out what happened.
Yep.
And I love how Mark Twain almost becomes the bad guy in this episode at first.
Yeah.
Because he's just so cynical and so I guess angry.
Dude, he was black-pilled as fuck. Towards the end of his life.
Yeah.
Now, one thing about that Counselor Troy kind of went SJW on him. We've abolished poverty in our, it was kind of this condescending, superior feminazi, lecture that I was kind of going, you shouldn't, context. You're supposed to understand where he, how he was brought up, the age that he comes from. You're not supposed to be going all feminazi on him.
This is prime directive material too. What is she telling him this stuff for?
That's actually a great point. They just blew off the prime directive completely in this episode.
She did, because she's not an officer; she's a counselor.
Okay.
So they have left him in that cave, right?
But they didn't leave him. He freaking ran after them.
Yeah, exactly. So they were kind of stuck with him, I guess. But yeah, she didn't have to tell him all that shit. It's like everybody's got a job here. Well, I'll get paid. Blah blah blah. We go buy shit 10 forward.
I think they missed an opportunity here to have Data's body walking around without a head on it.
And did Guinan interact with Twain on the Enterprise?
No,
I don't remember that.
No, she didn't.
I wonder why. That would have really messed with him, wouldn't it?
The Prime Directive states that non-interference with other cultures and civilizations at its core was the philosophical concept that personnel who are, who are ordered to by this Prime Directive should refrain from interfering with the natural, unassisted development of societies, even if such interference was well intentioned. And how was that not applicable to Counselor Troy?
It was applicable, but
I think it would have been.
She's the least. Well, I don't want to use the word military, but she's the least officer material.
Well, she's
all of the people in the
staff. She's not blind. She's way staff. I get that. She's a specialized person who does nothing having to do with running the ship or running some important sub-department of the ship.
With that camel toe, though, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Okay.
I never noticed that with her.
Yeah.
But Beverly has no problem running the ship or being professional or that kind of stuff. But Troy is like lost. I mean, what was the episode where she was like, she was in charge? It was called Disaster, right?
Yeah.
That was the episode?
Well,
where the ship.
Which episode are you talking about?
Disaster.
Yeah. So, I mean, in that episode, she's kind of like lost and she's relying on Roe and O'Brien. And I mean, she makes the hard call. I get that, but she has no technical prowess at all.
Yeah.
So this is like a cosmic string. No, that's something completely different. You idiot.
Yeah.
You almost want to hear Miles say that. You know?
Yeah. Right.
Dumb bitch. I should be in charge. Fuck you.
Yeah. I'm relieving you. Relief for cause.
But yeah, I mean, it's just. It seems to me like she makes a lot of these mistakes, and we kind of like forgive her because she's just a counselor. What does she know?
Yeah.
Not like she's the character for me to pick on, but she's totally the character I pick on.
Yeah. Yeah. My feelings about Counselor Troy are kind of complicated.
Didn't she marry one of the guitar players from Rat? I can't remember.
I don't know.
Yeah, she was prone to metal rockers, moose metal guys. She had a thing for that.
That doesn't speak highly for her own self-respect, but
She's a groupie, man.
You do you, boo. Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
You wanna. I'm not going to go there.
Hold on, guys.
Not going to go there.
Well, she has been topless in a couple of movies, so there's that. You don't really see that with Beverly.
No,
Gates McFadden.
Yeah,
nah.
Yeah. I can't find any nudes on Gates McFadden, and I haven't tried very hard. So I'm just teasing.
She got a boob job though.
No, you're not. It's all right, dude.
Yeah, I actually found the sex tapes.
Troy got a boob job, didn't she?
Who? Counselor Troy?
Marina Sirtis.
Yeah. She got a boob job, didn't she? Because I saw pictures of her like in the last
year. What
year.
didn't Marina Sirtis get done?
She's definitely got a boob job.
Yeah.
If you didn't watch the Cream Stream last night, yesterday was Dawn Wells' birthday. Just a side note here. Marianne from Gilligan's Island.
Oh.
And I showed pictures of what she looks like today at the age of 81 and what Ginger looks like. And oh, God. Yeah.
There's no comparison, is there?
Marianne was always my favorite between the two of them.
Oh, I know. Absolutely. Mine too.
The
other girl was made to be
Marianne or Ginger. Marianne, definitely.
Yeah, Ginger was made to be the sex symbol, but Marianne
was the sexy one.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Marina Sirtis had a boob job. Oh yeah. Wow.
Yep.
Let's see.
Does anyone else love the scene where Riker, they all go into the past and they're at the hospital and the cop comes in and Riker's like, I just want you to know I have the utmost respect for the law. Whack!
And he pops him in that, yeah.
You know, Marina Sirtis is a United States citizen. I thought she was a Brit.
I thought she was Greek.
No,
She is Greek, but she's an American citizen. I'm Irish, but I'm
but
American.
she was
She's
born.
married an American.
Yeah, some guy named Michael Lamper.
Michael Lamper. Hold on. Say, I think he's a guitar player.
He doesn't. Michael Lamper.
Stand by while we stalk Marina Sirtis.
We're stalking Marina Sirtis.
He does look like a rocker. Michael
is an
Lamper is an
actor.
American rock guitarist musician who portrayed an Acamarian gatherer in the Star Trek Next Generation. Married Counselor Troy. Blah 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 blah.
Oh, he was a gatherer? Huh. I didn't know
Right.
that.
What's that?
What episode was that?
That's in season 3 where they had the gatherers and the Acamarians, and the gatherers kept raiding Federation.
Oh, right.
Ah,
And it had me in mind of Scottish clans.
What was that girl's
Honestly.
name?
Utah.
Utah. She was hottie.
Utah.
as a musician, Lamper has played with musicians such as Tommy Shaw Sticks, Kevin Cronin, Matthew Nelson, Jack Blades, the Allman Brothers, the new Allman Brothers, Quiet Riot, Los Lobos, and he also worked as lead singer on the band Steely Jam, which I think was a tribute band to Steely
Oh, the
Jam.
Steely Jam.
Yeah.
And but he's not really a major rock figure or anything like that. He's kind of one of these hanger on, you know. He's a good guy and he can play guitar well enough, throw in some rhythm tracks. And so let's include him. Got him a check. He's not like.
Is that where they met?
Guy is not Buckethead.
On that episode of Star Trek? Is that where they met?
It's is an American writer who portrayed an Acamarian gatherer on Star Trek Next Generation 3rd season episode Vengeance Factor. And then it just says, then he married Deanna Troi in a traditional Greek ceremony at which Brent Spiner and Michael Dorn were groomsmen.
Oh, that's cool.
She looks really good at 64.
She does.
Man.
Will you still need me? Will you still feed me when I'm 64?
Who, Marina?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'd buy her dinner.
Oh,
saying.
Yeah, but she's so fucking. I
Annoying.
had to unfollow her. So
Yeah.
I followed
She doesn't talk about football. That's all she talks about.
not football and liberal talking points. Yeah.
She has a Tottenham Hotspur tattoo on her left shoulder. She's so devoted to that football club.
Oh, wow.
You can't make this shit up.
We're talking about soccer for those of you who don't know what we're talking about.
Yeah.
So we
It's
have
an ugly ass tattoo, by the way, too. So
there's something else I wanted to talk about for Times Arrow, and it's a funny thing because what I liked about Times Arrow was it balanced some very serious stuff with some very humorous things, like the pretend practicing of A Midsummer Night's Dream, where they freaking bring in the landlord to distract her from bitching about the rent. So
yeah, that was funny as shit.
yeah, so Picard's like, "Oh, you're perfect to play Titania. Come here."
We found out Titania.
Yeah, it was amazing.
Yeah, you know, before, because there's kind of a horror element to this thing. You know, when Data's like phased out and he's describing everything he's seeing, right? There's an Ophidian, and I'm like, what the fuck's an Ophidian? I remember when I first saw this, right? And he talked about the aliens. He described them as having like, open mouths at the tops of their heads and 4 arms and shit. And they were like, and there was something flowing into the mouths. He couldn't tell what it was.
It must not rain on Ophidia.
They're soul eaters.
exactly.
And it was like, holy shit, this is like once again, it goes kind of horror right there, right? And then it ends. As soon as we find out what they're dealing with. And then it kind of when they pick it up in the next season, it lightens up a little bit. But there's the sinister aliens, but you never see them in their true form. You just see this kind of fuzzy thing, but they still looked weird as shit. Very nice, very very creepy.
Also, just a random moment from the episode when Mark Twain sees Worf and says werewolf. That is a great moment.
Werewolf.
There's a werewolf.
Yeah.
And Michael Dorn just stares at him, gives him the death eye.
Yep. Or I love my other fun part that I like is their cop is asking Picard what he's doing, and he goes, "Just checking the light fixtures, city ordnance in case of earthquakes." And it's San Francisco, and and the guy's like, "There hasn't been earthquakes here in 30 years," and I'm like,
"You got a big one on the on the clock there."
Is it 1908 yet?
It's on the calendar.
Don't worry, one's coming.
Yeah, no shit. Yeah, that little stuff like that. I don't know. This just was just a fun episode, and it was a good story. It was well written, well acted, and it was just. I don't want to say it's emblematic of what TNG. It showed. This was them at their, I guess at the widest, breadth of the creativity going in there. All three of these episodes are kind of out of box, especially Darmok, thinking. But this whole I was a big fan of Hal Holbrook's one man play of Mark Twain.
Absolutely, that was a great show. And
this kind of echoed that too, and I love the guy that played Twain was great.
Yeah.
Yep.
That was awesome.
Little too much Foghorn Leghorn for me.
You think?
A little bit too much. Just a little bit.
Yeah.
You expect a chicken hawk to come around the corner,
Yeah.
I'll say, boy.
You're messing me, boy.
But he certainly looked the part. Jesus, he looked just like Twain.
Yeah. The makeup was ridiculously good on him.
Yeah, his hair was amazing.
Yeah, his hair was perfect.
Did anyone else find how many datas were there? What, like 3 of them? Which one of us needs to seal the rift? Me.
Yeah, that was great. And they went, whoop.
Well, that was the Mannheim episode, right?
Was that? I thought that was. I thought they had. I thought they had. He had to do something similar in this episode.
No, this one. Mark Twain was the hero who went back through.
That's right, because he went.
Yeah,
he went one way because there was only enough energy to get one body back out.
It was
convenient for the plot. That was a rather plot convenient thing, but that's not a big ask.
No, because you can't have an author from the 19th century stay in the 24th or 23rd. That doesn't work.
If I'd been Mark Twain, I would have said, "I am not leaving. Sorry, I don't care. I'm not leaving."
Would you want to?
No.
I don't think he would want to. The real Mark Twain.
If you could live 500 years from now, would you do it? Would you take it, not knowing what it was going to be like?
Finish the rest of my life out.
Yeah.
No going back. Yeah, man.
Maybe live for 100,000 years.
I don't know about that, but
yeah, I know.
Just to see, what all this shit looks like in 500 years.
I wouldn't mind visiting, but I would not want to be there. I'm sure, looking at the way things are here now and where they're going, I can only imagine how bad it's going to be if we even visit 1,000 years.
Eat meat.
We'll be eating insects and
exactly.
That's going to happen in 50
and half of our
That's going to happen in 50 years.
Here's your cricket brick.
Half our genome is going to be on Mars.
That's it. It's going to be soil and cockroach.
Yes. Yeah.
Soy.
Somebody like The Expanse then
Cockroach.
is what Hammer's saying.
Yeah. But if they could make something that tasted exactly like steak and it was made from cockroaches, I'd be down.
Yeah.
If I couldn't tell the difference, I'd be
Right.
totally down. That's the key, though.
Mm.
You got to get that replicator technology. That's
That's the key there.
that's really all it is.
Can literally turn shit into Shino.
Yeah, yeah. You can turn failure into success.
Oh, look, we'll take that bulkhead and make it into a steak.
Yeah.
Exactly. Just didn't apply enough energy to it. You can,
Yeah.
The interesting thing is, just to go down the bunny hole here just for a second.
Sure.
Replicator technology is very interesting. I mean, if you look at the amount of fingernail that you clip off when you cut your fingernail, a fingernail clipping has approximately 2, I believe it's trillion molecules in it.
That's insane.
Yes. Okay, that's how small a molecule is. Molecules are really fucking tiny. And so when you're talking about something that places each molecule and has to act on each molecule, you have to have a force that is acting on forces that act on chunks of molecules at a time. Otherwise, you could make a steak, but it would take 300,000 years, to do it by any mechanistic possibility. So
That's if you're using Polly's computer.
anyway, that my point in saying that is that to make a steak, there are a lot of molecules in a steak. There are a shit ton of molecules in a steak. Just to make a mold of, Avogadro's number is what is it, 6.023 times 10 to the 23rd. That's how many numbers are in the mole of atoms of that, and a mole is not very big. I mean, it's something that's measured in a couple of kilograms, for the lighter elements. 6 times 10 to the 23rd. That's a lot. That's a big fucking number. And so that it makes the approach of, if you're going to develop a replicator, you have to have something that can process enormous numbers of molecules precisely, exactly, and virtually instantaneously.
Yeah.
It's a tall order.
Duck Dog says replicators are just modified transporters. Yeah.
Yeah, basically, yeah. Yeah. See, I was wondering if you could like transport the poop out of your colon.
Yeah.
Probably.
Just be careful. You don't want to beam out your colon.
Did you? Oh man,
really resect your bowel.
it reminds me of that scene in fucking Breaking Bad where Badger's telling about his episode of Star Trek that he's written. Have y'all seen that?
No.
Oh my God.
Breaking Bad? Yeah, I've seen all of that. I watched all of Breaking Bad.
Yeah, his Star Trek script that he wrote, and there's a cartoon that somebody did to go with it, and it's funny as shit. I'll put a link into it in the. I don't know if this has got the cartoon.
Mm-hmm. So those were some awesome.
Yeah, there's
awesome
actually an animation of the Breaking Bad Star Trek script. There's an animation of it.
Yeah, here it is
on YouTube. And is that the one that you're
putting in chat?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna put it in.
Brandon Badger Mayhew. Is that what you're putting into?
Yes.
Okay.
It's so fucking funny.
It's a YouTube that ends in 2BOM.
I've got another one. Hold on.
Here, I'm going to
make
put
sure.
this one in chat. Just for shits.
Yeah, this is it. Yeah.
So we've done everybody but you, right, Blaine?
Nope. I went first.
Oh, you went first?
Yeah.
We did mine.
You did
We
Skeps.
so we've
we
done
did
everybody.
Irate. Yep.
Yeah.
So now we move on to Deep Space Nine.
Oh, shit.
Next week I won't be able to be here because I'll be at my niece's wedding.
Ooh, that's fun.
I totally fucking forgot. There's been a lot. There's a lot going on. Okay.
Do you still have to get a suit and shit too?
No, I've got one.
That's good.
Yeah, it'll be just a
Mr.
sport
Dax,
jacket.
Mr. Dax says his first degree is in chemistry. So he's my chemistry bro. I just have a minor. I didn't take a major in chemistry, but I do have a minor.
And Skep, you're going to see your dad next weekend, right?
Yes. I'll be down with
So do
my
we
dad's not
want
gonna be around.
to
Postpone
for the week and then reconvene for the 2nd of November?
That would be excellent.
I have an idea.
What's your idea?
There's a couple of people who are Star Trek fans who haven't been participating. Why don't we hold off on DS9 and get one or both of those people, if they're available, to give us their picks for TNG?
That would be cool because now that
Who
we
you got in mind?
Who do I have in mind? People?
Yeah.
Polly?
yeah.
People who've been on. I'm sorry. I thought you were talking about new people.
No.
Okay,
Well, new
yeah.
people to this stream.
Polly would be perfect. No,
Yeah, Polly, and also Prospero.
Yes, I would
Star
like
Trek fan there too.
Yes.
Let's see if one of them would be, or both of them would be willing to sit in on a stream.
That'd be great.
Think that would be awesome. I've let Polly know that we have switched to 5 p.m. So
He's still
hopefully,
sleeping.
oh, he's still.
I'm almost finished.
He's always sleeping.
Sorry, hang on, guys. 1 second.
Yeah, I've got to.
I'm going to have to run, so I'm actually going to drop off the stream. But we're done now, and
Yeah, we are. And
thank you for having me. I'm gonna, but I've got to take off.
No worries.
See you, Skep.
I'll talk to you guys later. Bye bye.
Take it easy, buddy.
Later, bro.
And with that, I want to thank everybody else for hanging out and watching. And thanks to Irate and Hammer for joining me. And of course, Skep Talk, who's just left. And I hope everyone has a good weekend, a good Saturday. And so I guess we'll hold off for next week so that Irate and Skep can do their RL things. And we'll see if we can get Polly and Prospero to come hang out with us the weekend after that.
That
And
would be killer.
that'll be fun.
If we can't get them, we can probably do something with the people in chat.
Yeah,
Let the people in chat pick 3.
that
And
would be
review
fun.
them, too. There's a lot of options we can do while we wait for everyone else to
I kind of like that idea.
I do
take
too.
care of. We don't talk to chat enough.
No, we
I
don't.
do want to say a shout out to OG WR Costin because he's been with the Minions for a long time, and
Yeah, WR's a great guy.
he's my man.
Mr. Dax.
I call him OG.
Milkman Dan.
Jack Gunsky was out there.
Yep. You guys are awesome. And thank you guys for watching. And tune in tomorrow for Blind and Special at 10 p.m. Eastern. I believe Polydub might be joining us.
Oh boy.
So that should be fun. It'll be our first guest on the Blind and Special. So
That should be entertaining.
yeah, it should be. So tune in for that, guys. And on that note, I'm gonna go have some dinner because we have apparently Pincalo ordered pizza and I can smell it.
Oh, I'm having pizza too.
So
Pizza.
everybody have a great night and we will see you all later. Thanks for watching, guys.
Bye, guys.